Hello, sweeties. I'm Linda with Sweet Aria Decor, and today we're going to start making some Valentine decorations. And we are going to start with something sweet. So this is a chocolate-covered strawberry sign that I found this, and I fell in love with this when I was at the my wholesalers, and then I found it at the warehouse sale. So I've got a couple of these signs. These are not kits. These are just ones that I am making that are currently in my own personal inventory, but we're going to make this into a wreath today. I have some mesh here. I'm going to show you the different colors I've used. Obviously red because it's Valentine's Day, but then I've never used this color mesh before. It's brown. It's got some brown mesh because it looks like chocolate. So we have our chocolate and we have our strawberry. These are cut at 18 inches a piece, okay? So this is the 10-inch mesh. Maybe sometimes it's 10.25, but we call it 10-inch mesh. 18 pieces cut at 18 inches long a piece because we're going to be using an OAD wreath frame, and there are 18 spots, or I'm going to call these 18 branches in here. So I've got just enough to make that with one set left over. I actually have 19. And then we are going to be adding in, I've already pre-cut my ribbon. So these are the ribbons we're going to be using. I've pre-cut my ribbon tails. So I've got two 2.5-inch ribbons, one 1.5-inch ribbon, and I've already cut this at 14 inches a piece, and I've dovetailed all the ends. A dovetail means you take the two wired edges, you put them together, and then you cut angled from the inside going outward up toward the wires, and then you get that beautiful shape. This helps prevent it from fraying and gives it a nice finished edge. So I've got 18 pieces of each ribbon cut with the remainder set aside to make a bow. All right, we've got some spammers in here. I don't know who the best food is, but you are getting blocked. Get out of here. Nope, 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 you're not taking over my life. No, no. But hello to Linda and Carol. How's it going, everybody? Awesome. I hope you guys had a fantastic holiday. All right, then the next thing we're going to be adding onto that wreath is I have some red roses because nothing says Valentine's Day like some red roses. But then I also have some filler bush. This is called 60919. It's basically a 24-inch EVA leaf and bead filler bush, but I've got two that have red and pink. And then I've got one that has red with like a little bit of pink. So I'm going to kind of sprinkle these throughout only because I didn't have 3 of these. So I'm just going to make do with what I have. Okay. But that's going to be set aside here for later. So what we're going to do for right now is start with putting in our mesh. Now this is not the fun part of making a wreath, okay? This is the part that kind of sucks. But Laurel, so you can get these supplies currently at, I would check craftoutlet.com. I got these at a warehouse sale. These, and what I forgot to show you guys was look at the picks. Look at the matching picks. So I would start by checking Craft Outlet and then go check over at Deco Exchange to see if they have this. Now this is not a kit currently, but I will be carrying lots of other kits going forward. Most of what you're going to see me make is stuff that's going to be as a kit available in my shop, Sweet Aria Decor. I just don't have a lot of Valentine's kits, so I'm just going to make some wreaths because I need to fill out my online shop. So that's where we're going to be doing this. Oh, Lori Ann, it's your first time catching me live. Well, hello and happy early New Year. All right. Oh, I can't believe it's New Year's, 2026. Oh, Lord. Please let it be better than 2025 was. Oh, all right, here we go. So I'm putting my mesh to the side. Now you can see I've alternated it, right? The reason I've alternated it is I'm going to use both the brown and the red in each spot, but it's alternated in my stack. So what I did was when I was cutting my mesh, I had the roll of brown on the bottom and the roll of red on the top, and I sandwiched them on top of each other. So then when you pull them out, they're laying on top of each other, and then you only have to cut once. And then when you stack it all up, I literally just have to work from that stack, right? That's all I need to do. It makes it a lot easier. So we're going to start out with, I'm going to put the brown on the bottom. I may alternate which which mesh is at the bottom and which mesh is at the top. For right now, I'm going to start out at the bottom. Okay. So you have this piece of mesh. You see it wants to curl up like this. Okay. I'm going to embrace that curl. I'm just going to open it up a little bit. I'm going to take the bottom and I'm going to curl it up from the bottom about twice. What we're doing then is getting this cut edge. It's going to be tucked in here. So this is going to protect it from fraying. Okay. So I've got the piece of mesh. It looks like this. Now I'm just going to go right up the center, gather it up. You're going to want to make it look like a bow tie. Okay. So when it's all done, you got your curled ends and then you've got it kind of sprinkled up, right? Again, this is 10-inch mesh. I have 18 pieces cut at 18 inches each. Okay. I'm going to open that up. Actually, I'm going to start on the bottom. I'm going to put that on the bottom. I'm just going to give it a gentle twist because I'm going to open that up in a minute. I want to add in some red. Okay. So twice from the bottom, twice from the top. Roll it up the center. Sometimes people have used clothespins at the top to kind of hold that one there. I find I can do it just by holding it with my hands. Okay. Now I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to twist it. Now I'm not going to give it I'm going to twist it tight enough, but I'm going to reopen this later to put my ribbons in. Okay. So this is what it looks like when you have one set in here. Okay. I've got the chocolate on the bottom and the strawberry on the top. Bring it over. In your face. I know those are going to end up going flying off the end of my table if I don't. Okay, now I'm going to take the next set of two. And this time I'm going to do the red on the bottom and the brown on the top. Okay. So 1, 2. From the top. 1, 2. Curling it up. Okay. I'm going to go in here. So these wreath frames, I will eventually be carrying these at sweetrydecor.com. You can find some workable but not the best versions of these at Hobby Lobby, or you can go to Deco Exchange, Craft Outlet, places like that online. It's called an OAD work frame. I think this is a 15 to 24 inch, and they usually have 18 spots for the branches on here, which is why I'm cutting 18 pieces of everything. All right. There we go. See, I like alternating because then it doesn't make one too heavy and each one kind of gets its own. If you've got a mesh that wants to remain more prominent, then I would say you can always keep that on the top with the other one on the bottom. It always works like that, however you want to do it. But with these frames, you can also go around and use the poof method. So you can do 10-inch poofs with the 21-inch long mesh. Just kind of start it here and then go poof, poof, poof. I do have some videos on my YouTube channel that kind of show that. I haven't used a lot of that 21-inch mesh lately because I've been saving those for my tomato cage trees, but I should probably try that. But then once you do the 21-inch poofs, you can go back in and then in every spot you can add a 10-inch ruffle of a different type of, or a different material, and then that helps it to look all nice and full and colorful. And the reason I'm starting out on the bottom is because then otherwise I don't want to have to push the mesh up and try to find where the bottom tines are and kind of shove that in there. It's easier to work from the bottom and then go up to the top. Oh, Laura's in Delaware. Well, hello from about to be rainy Chicago. I just got back from having breakfast with my high school friend. She moved back here from Arizona, so that was so nice to catch up with her. So I had everything kind of pre-cut and ready to go before I jumped on this live. So at least I felt somewhat prepared, right? Here we go. All right. Again, there's my cruffle. Bringing it up. And it's at this point that I can tell that some of my acrylic fingernails are coming loose. Linda needs to make an appointment. All right, I'm going around. So we got about half of the base done. Again, this is not the fun part. This is not the fun part, but that's all right. So tell me, guys that are online, how was your Christmas? Did you host? Did you go somewhere? And most importantly, what did you have for Christmas dinner? Linda always wants to know the details about the food because I have priorities. We catered in Portillo's which if you don't have one by you, it's kind of like a beef burger pasta place that's pretty popular here in the Midwest. We had Italian beef sandwiches and mustacholi, but then I also decided we need breadsticks, so I got a salad, and I think it was like almost 70 breadsticks from Olive Garden with the dipping sauces and all that stuff. Oh, we definitely were not on a carb diet, that's for sure. All right, so sometimes you're going to find little stray pieces of the top. You just snip it off. Just snip it off. It's always going to happen. That's just the nature of the material that's the mesh, right? That's just what it's going to do. And that's all right. Okay. So again, I'm going with the red. 1, 2, 3. Pull it down. 1, 2, 3. Ruffle it up the middle so you have your bow tie. And we're going to put that right here. 2 ruffles in each spot. I just can't believe it's time to make Valentines. Honestly, I think everybody is past Valentines, moving into spring and Easter, and I, of course, am behind. I have like 76 boxes worth of wreath supplies downstairs that I have to go turn into kits. I was trying to get all my Christmas stuff put away downstairs first, so I don't make too much of a mess. But I think I'm going to be able to start going through my stuff today because I don't want everybody to have to wait too long. I released 2 Valentine wreath kits yesterday. One kit is just 1 available, and another kit is just 2 available because those were kind of like one-offs I was able to get. But I have another kit I'm putting together I'll have 12 of them. But I have to get some stuff unpacked from some of the boxes and get these kits made. So that is kind of my goal for tonight, is to get that other kit out there. And then that is probably going to be the next wreath that I end up making. I'll do a video for. I don't know if I'm going to be live this Wednesday night because it's New Year's Eve. I haven't decided yet. I may, if nothing else is going on, or I may not. If I'm feeling like I want to party. And by party, I mean make myself a tray of leftover Christmas cookies and some wine coolers. Partying by myself. My daughter will be upstairs, and my husband is in heaven, so they don't really, give them parole from up there. So he's going to party up there while I'm down here. I'll probably watch Ryan Seacrest because what else am I going to watch? Here we go. But the new season of The Pit's coming up, so that'll be my early January. Okay, 2 more sections to do here on the bottom. I am trying to push these top ones into the middle as I go through, just because it's going to make it easier to find them once I get to that point. All right, here's the next set of mesh. I'm going to start with brown on the bottom this time. Here you go up here. I always feel like I think I need to get a larger workspace, but I know if I do, then I'll just fill it up with other stuff and I'll still only be left with the same amount of workspace. I do have a new mat that I got for Christmas from my daughter and my son-in-law. I haven't put it out yet, though. This one's still kind of bubbly. It's a little bit warped because I had left a skillet on there when I was still trying to use a glue skillet, and it kind of warped it. But I did hear that if you put it and submerge it in warm water, that it might kind of flatten back out. So I might take a bath with it and see what happens. Light some candles, have like a little romantic rendezvous with my Fisker's cutting mat, because that's the life I lead now. That would be kind of funny. But I mean, it's going to be warm water. I might as well take advantage of it. Yeah, I'll take a bath with it, but I ain't shaving my legs. I draw the line. I'm done with that. It ain't summer. Okay, here's the last red one in the bottom. Oh, Obie Mason loves Portillo's. Lori had stuffed shell salad and garlic bread. Oh, that sounds so good. Ooh, with it, I imagine those are probably homemade stuffed shells. Oh, that's some good stuff. We are a pasta loving family here. We're not Italian at all. Just love carbs. Okay, so this is what the bottom row looks like. Okay, it's just the bottom done. And right now we're kind of looking at about 6 inches in depth. It's going to get a little taller once we start putting the ones on the top. But here's kind of what it is now. So let's move on up. We're moving on up, moving on up. Sorry. It's the Jeffersons. If you know, you know. All right. I'm trying not to do this off camera, but I'm also trying not to knock over all my mesh. I'm running out of space here. Again, this is 18 pieces of 10-inch mesh cut at 18 inches long. There should be 19 pieces I can get out of a roll, okay? In theory. And most of the time that's been the case. Sometimes there's been a weird splice in the roll, which is kind of weird. That typically doesn't happen though. I've never seen spliced rolls of mesh more than I think 2 or 3 times in the, what, almost 9 years that I've been doing this. Next year will be 9 years. Wow. Exciting. Time flies when you're getting crafty, my friends. All right, let's go work this way. This is not the fun part of making a wreath, I know. I'm going to start with brown on the bottom now. Oops, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not knocking all of my pre-cut ribbons that are off camera. I don't want to be knocking them onto the floor. I kind of feel like I'm heading in that direction. Okay. Here we go. Lord's mom's Italian. Oh my gosh, you must have the best recipes. I bet you probably look at Olive Garden and be like, that is not good Italian. Because you know real Italian. Oh, I grew up in a Czech Bohemian household, even though my genetics are like mostly British, French, Scottish, German. Thanks to Ancestry.com. But I grew up in a household where it was roast pork and potato dumplings and bread dumplings and all of those goodies. And oh my gosh, I do know how to make homemade potato dumplings. It's one of the few things I'm proud of knowing how to make. My mom is the best cook. She doesn't cook anymore. But I've got her recipes. They're all in a family book. The problem is that I've got to find someone to teach how to make the roasted pork because my oldest daughter is vegetarian. So she's not going to make that. She can make the dumplings, but she's not going to make the pork. Here we go. All right. Kind of move this around. Just a couple more to go. All right. This is looking good. Looking good. I'm getting kind of hungry just looking at it though. Like, I want to dip some chocolates and strawberry. If you guys watched me last Monday, you watched me dip some pretzel rods in white chocolate almond bark, they call it. It's not really chocolate, it's almond bark. But that was fun. We ate all those real fast. But apparently I'm on a dipping things in chocolate kind of phase here. I've also done it with Oreos. I know they make them pre-made like that, but it's just better when you can dip them yourself. But I'm sorry, I'm a snob when it comes to Oreos. It's got to be double stuffed or bust, baby. If it's not a double stuffed, I won't even look at it twice. Obviously. I personally am double stuffed myself. I'm convinced that if I was ever shot, I wouldn't bleed. Cream filling would just shoot out like I was a human Twinkie. And that's all right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. From the top. 1, 2, 3. Cruffle it up. That's what this is called, is a cruffle. It's a curl and a ruffle. Put it together and you have the word cruffle. Right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Almost done. Then we can start doing the fun stuff. Not that this isn't fun, but this part's not fun. I'm not going to lie. All right, here we go. Moving it around. 3 more to go. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. All right, I'm going to start with the brown on this one. I do like the fact that I've been alternating because then it doesn't feel like it's too heavy on one color. It feels like it's evenly distributed that way. You don't have to do it that way though. And there's also a method, I've got videos for it, but a lot of my kits are to make a thin wreath that is great for beginners. If you're new to wreath making, or if you have a storm door and you need something skinny and narrow that's going to fit into that space that is typically 4 inches deep. So a lot of my kits are that, but I am going to be offering a grapevine kit. I'm still working on getting the flowers for that. I think I'm going to be placing my order today. But it's a blue chinoiserie butterfly. Oops, one of my things came undone. I did not twist it well enough. It's on the bottom rack. You see how that popped out there? Here we go. I didn't twist it well enough. Here we go. That can happen. That's user error. My fault. Whoops. Worst things can happen in life. Okay, because red on top there, so I'm going to start with red on the bottom now. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, do you guys have any special New Year's plans? Is anybody going to actually have a life and go out and party and do some fun stuff and hang with friends? I don't do New Year's because it's very people-y out there, and I've got crowd anxiety. It's exhausting for me to be around like larger groups of people. So I got crowd anxiety. It's kind of why I don't really go to a lot of concerts anymore. All right, and now we're going to do brown on the bottom, red on the top. This is a fluffy boy. Wow, this wreath is going to be big and juicy. Like a big red chocolate covered strawberry. Yummy, yummy. When I put the ribbons on, I may need to sit down. I'm having some issues with my back. I apologize. I literally stood all of Christmas Day cooking and making stuff, so I'm cutting myself some slack here. Mama Linda is very tired. All right, here we go. I've got 1 extra set left, which works out perfectly. And I keep all my extra mesh. I keep it in a bin. I toss it in that corner. Yay. So then when I find enough colors that kind of coordinate, or if I've got a couple of the same pieces, I can take all those leftovers and I make what I call a scrap wreath. But basically just put it into an evergreen wreath and use up my little pieces that coordinate. You know, because we want to try to use as much as we can. Keep everything out of the landfill as much as we can. Okay? All right, so here is our big fluffy wreath. This measures, I'm going to call it about 24, a generous 24 inches. And then the depth on this is just shy of 8. So I think once we get our bow and everything else on there, it's going to be 8 inches. Okay. So now we have our wreath. I'm going to show you the ribbons I have pre-cut. I have pre-cut a 1.5 inch ribbon with the chocolate covered strawberry pattern. I have cut a 2.5 inch non-woven ribbon. Now it is red. I'm going to hold it up here. You can see there's a bit of a floral pattern on there, but it's really not overpowering. So I kind of treat this one as a solid almost. And then I have that same strawberry covered or chocolate covered strawberry ribbon again in a 2.5 inch. So this is how I'm going to layer mine. I'm going to do the strawberry and the red and the strawberry because I don't want to do red, strawberry, strawberry, right? I need something to separate that out, okay? So that's how I'm going to have these over here on the side. Give myself some more room. Okay. So I'm just going to stack them. I'm going to start with strawberry. Now, fortunately, these strawberries go in all directions, so this is not directional ribbon. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to stack the other one right on top of that. Now, the ends aren't going to always line up exactly because sometimes you dovetail and you cut off a little bit more than you did on the other layer. But just try to just make them centered, okay? This one goes in the middle. We're going to fold it in half so the ends kind of meet. I focus on where the last 2.5 inch meets. Push it down so you kind of make a crease. Open it back up. So then you're going to see right here that line. This is where we're going to pinch it up together. Okay, pinch together. And I'm going to open up. I'm starting on the bottom. I'm going to open up a spot here. Okay. So my mesh, you can see it's trained now. It's not popping out. I'm going to put this right in here. And now is where I'm going to give it a nice good tug. Okay. Sometimes you can even tug it twice. There you go. Twist it twice. Make sure that that looks good. So I start with my bottom layer and I bring my bottom layer to the top. Solid. And then a 1.5. And then we're going to repeat with the strawberry red and then the 1.5. Okay. So everything is diagonal to it. Okay, you see how the 1.5 goes that way. The red kind of goes almost kind of like across the middle. And then that strawberry one goes down that way for the 2.5 inch. All right. It's kind of like making like a star shape, honestly. I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way around. And you don't have to do 1.5 inch. In there, I just wanted to because I wanted to add it up a little more. Because the only thing I have to fill this out with is a little bit of that filler bush and then some red roses. So I don't have a whole lot that I'm putting in here because I'm trying to keep the price point lower. On this one, you can go as detailed and as jam-packed as you want on a wreath. I, however, have I guess sellability, is that a word? And profitability in my mind, because if I make it and I price it too high and it sits in my shop, that doesn't help me either. I do offer free shipping on almost all of my finished decor items. All right. Okay, so here we go. That's looking so cute. I could have gone with a different type of 1.5 inch, but I really wanted to play up this chocolate covered strawberry theme. So that's kind of why I repeated that same one that's at that bottom 2.5 inch. Ew. I'm like, there's orange. No, that's a piece of, from an orange wreath that I had sitting on there. I was panicked and I was like, please tell me that there's not a piece of orange stuck on that ribbon. No. It was literally a piece of a PVC shred. Okay, pulling these apart. Here we go. Oh, I can't believe 2026 is already here. I'm trying to work on different things for the business. Different things that I can show you guys. Oh no, Linda, you butthead. I just knocked over my staple gun, which I'm going to have to go get before I put the sign on. Which means I have to move the backdrop. I always do dumb stuff like this. Now, maybe if I had a bigger table, that wouldn't have happened. It still would have happened. Who am I kidding? It still would have happened. All right. Up, middle, down. Down, middle, up. All right. Super cute. I'm loving this. This is going to be so fun. All right. I do have one craft show coming up in March that I have to start preparing for. That one's going to be, I'm in the western Chicago suburbs, and this one's going to be in Tinley Park at Carl Sandburg. I think it's the second weekend in March. It's right before my birthday, which is on the 11th. So I'm going to do that. I think I rented 2 spaces because I'm taking Easter, but I'm also taking a lot of everyday and patriotic, because with the 250th anniversary of our country coming up next year. I think there's going to be a big push on a lot of patriotic. So I do have a couple patriotic kits that I've put together. I just, again, need to get the florals for those, but I'm going to be placing that order today. It's expensive, so that's why I'm really trying to make sure I pick the right florals to go with it, because I'm ordering them from somewhere else that is not from my normal wholesaler. That'll be fun though. Patriotic is good because it's not just 4th of July. You know, you're talking, you can have that up from Memorial Day all the way up through Labor Day. So going that route can really take you far over the course of the whole summer. And I can't believe I'm even thinking about summer. I know some people are in Dallas Market buying stuff or ordering stuff this week for next Christmas and beyond. It's kind of crazy. I've always wanted to go to market. I just never been, because I live close to my wholesaler, so I can kind of just make an appointment and go there whenever I want. But there are other wholesalers that I would like to see. I just have to pay off what I've already spent. So we shall see. Most, if not all, of what I make in my business, I have been reinvesting into the business. So it's going to be interesting to see where this year goes, where we end up. How good I do in the last year kind of determines what I'm going to be able to offer in the next year. So this is kind of my 3rd year really focusing on supplies, but I'm going to be supply heavy from here on out. I'm going to start listing more individual rolls of ribbon. The tricky part with it, to be honest, I won't lie, is in pricing the shipping, because shipping costs are going up. And people kind of balk it. I don't want to spend $4.99 to ship a roll of ribbon. Well, it costs me like, you know, sometimes depending on where you live, it can cost me over $5 to send that roll of ribbon. So trust me, we're not making profit on shipping at all. Nobody is. If anything, I think sometimes it eats into what we're paying, because we're also buying the box or the packaging material, right? So it's a factor. The shipping, man, I wish it were a lot less expensive to ship, and I try not to use USPS if I don't have to, but individual rolls of ribbon or mesh, or sometimes assigned by itself, it is cheapest to send USPS. And they haven't lost anything on me in quite some time, so they've earned back my trust. But UPS is closer in distance to my house, and I usually drop my stuff off there. So we shall see. So what are some kind of things that you guys want to see coming up this next year? I'm going to be focusing on grapevines, arrangements. I know a lot of people have said that the biggest struggle area for them is bows. So we're going to focus on bows as well, for sure. Make it a little bit easier. Come up with a couple different types of bows you can make based on your skill level, or if you have a bow maker. I highly recommend having a bow maker, whether or not it's the easy bows, or there's like I think there's one for like $11.99 on Amazon, that it's basically just, you know, it's wood and it's just got some dowels in the middle. But I highly recommend it. I mean, it's great if you can make one by hand. But most of us, our hands hurt. And why are we going to do something that makes our hands hurt? Like, if we don't have to, just for the glory of saying, I made this by hand. Well, la-di-da, good for you. You wouldn't believe some of the people that get so ticked off about me using a bow maker, and like, you're not really a bow maker. Yeah, I made a bow. I'm a bow maker. You don't have to do it by hand. It's just kind of funny what sets some people off. I'm like, I don't understand sometimes where negativity in the crafting community comes from. Like, it's crafting. This isn't brain surgery. It's not someone's life on the line in a court battle, okay? It's a wreath. Like, can we not? I don't understand. I don't understand. Oh, Lord. It should be positive and happy, and I don't like any negativity brought into the space or people backstabbing each other. And like, I'm sorry, I finished middle school a long time ago, and I'm not planning to go back. So that kind of behavior I will immediately disengage from. I don't like that crap. But I will clap back if people give me crap online for something and they're nasty. I had one reel where the lady's like, WTF, it would have been nice to see them outside the bags. I'm like, oh girl, I'm coming back at you hard. I'm like, just click on my profile and you can see lots of examples of these WTF. Like, oh my God, people. I will match someone's energy so fast. All right, here we go. I feel like I've been putting these ribbon tails on forever. Again, this is not the fun part of wreath making. But here we go. All right, and it's literally just, it's the same shape on the bottom as I've done on the top. All right, and you don't have to necessarily all use tails. You can just use some cascades or make another couple extra small bows. You can put in some little loops or something. This is just how I wanted to make this wreath to kind of cover some more simplified wreath making methods. Plus, I wanted one that was going to go fast today. It's very hard for me to try to make an elaborate one online that's going to take like 2 hours because my energy level can't go that long. I'm used to things lasting 5 minutes, not 2 hours. Okay. I'm not up for any tantric wreath making, okay? Nope. When I make a big elaborate one like that, I usually make it in stages. Like I'll make some of it and then I have to stop and sit and rest the back. Or the hands, as the case may be. Okay. Strawberry. Red. Skinny strawberry. Here we go. All right. I'm going to stand up now so I can get a better angle. Here we go. The biggest thing is just trying to make sure that you're actually getting it nice and centered, which it is. You can hold your ends together once you get it twisted in, just to make sure that you're even. It's like when you get your hair cut and then they like pull your hair down under your chin to make sure that like that it looks even. It's the same concept. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. It's also good to check the tails, like where you cut the ends. Sometimes one will have like a little wire sticking out or it won't completely be perfect. So this gives you a chance to kind of inspect them all and make any little tweaks if you need to. All right. Just a couple more coming up. That's why I love this wired ribbon. Wired ribbon is crafter's best friend. It listens, it reshapes itself. It listens and it doesn't judge. I don't know. My ribbon's probably judging me. Like, why did you buy me when you have all those other ones hanging on the wall, Linda? Because they don't look exactly like you, okay, red ribbon? They're not exactly like you. Ugh. All right, separating this out. This makes me want those conversation hearts so bad. I love those Brock's conversation hearts. They were my favorite thing in the world until I kept breaking my teeth on them. And once I lost my 3 bottom teeth, I said, enough is enough. No more. No more. Even if you soften them up and you put them in a bowl with a piece of bread. Nope. I had to give them up. And it made me so sad. Linda's so sad. I love them. But it's all right. Here we go. I do like jelly beans at Easter. I don't really like the licorice, the black ones, so I put those in a bag and give them to my mom. She doesn't mind. I used to give them to Mike. So kind of warms my heart that at least now I have someone that I can give them to. right, one last set right in here. Almost kind of hard to find. Almost couldn't find that set, right? Not all these branches where they put them on the frame, sometimes they're not all exactly in the right spot. And I see one that I missed on the bottom. So let me just do that bottom one real quick. I found one on the bottom that I missed. That's right here. Yapping away. Because I know I cut 18, and when I had one left, I'm like, I know I must have missed one somewhere. So that's also another reason why it's kind of good to pre-cut stuff. Because if you end up with extra, and you know you counted right, then it means that somewhere one of your spots is missing some of its stuff. I would have seen that when I started putting stuff in, but I'd rather get it in now. All right, the last set. Here we go. You guys still hanging in there with me? You hanging in there? All right. We're doing the best we can. All right. Woo. Here we go. Last twist. 1, 2, 3. Pulling them aside, and then I'm on the left side. 1, 2, 3. You can kind of pull your fingers through on the wire and kind of like bend it back, give it some curl. This is also a time where if you find like little stray pieces, you can clip some of those off too. So here is what this whole thing looks like now all together, okay? So even with the ribbons on, we're kind of more now at 26 inches and probably more like 9 inches or so on the height, okay? So how we're going to do this is I'm going to have a sign down here going between 3 and 6 o'clock. Then we're going to have a bow kind of over at the 10 o'clock position. So in order to do this, I'm going to flip my sign over. Now you can use cable tie mounts should you want. I, however, like to use pipe cleaners as staple gun. Okay. So, and I want to be able to put this in over these spots. So I'm going to kind of measure where these spots are. There and there. Or kind of like there. And right down there on the tippy bottom. I am going to cut off the jute rope. We don't need that. But I've cut cardboard squares. I cut 2 1-inch cardboard squares out of the roll that the mesh comes on. Okay. Okay, I cut it out of one of these. I had to do that because my staples are a little bit longer, and I don't want them to come through the front of the sign. So I'm going to push this down. I flatten your cardboard, and then put the pipe cleaner over it. So I'm going to staple it right centered. 2 staples. All right, I'm going to go back and do that. Same on the bottom here. Okay. Oh my gosh, these lights are so hot, and I am so menopausal. This is terrible. Okay. We got it. So that's kind of what it looks like now. Bend it. Bend it. This is going to go at 6 o'clock, so I'm going to put this one down first. Okay, and I'm just going to straddle right over where these little branches twisted, okay? I'm going to try to, I don't want to poke through the mesh, so I'm going to try to put it through the ruffles, the spot in the cruffles. So I kind of call it the butt crack, but it's like, you know, it's that spot where it all kind of cruffles up, right? Okay, so I'm going to put that. Now I'm also making sure I wrap it around that top metal ring, all right, to make sure that it's nice and tight. You could wrap it around the first and the second ones if you really wanted to. I'm going to trim a little bit off. All right, and then I'm just going to take this, just kind of wrap it around that second ring, and then just kind of pinch it so it kind of looks like that, right? The whole point is to make sure that nothing is sticking out, nothing's going to catch on a front door. All right. Now I'm going to go in with this other one. And if you've got a lot of mesh and you're struggling, you can join 2 pipe cleaners together and use that so that you've got more to work with. But I don't think I need that. See, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to twist this. You don't want to pull too hard so that it squishes into your wreath, but you don't want to have too much slack where it has movement to it, okay? All right, and I'm just going to wrap this then right around that wreath frame. The reason I don't want to cut it real short is because sometimes I will end up wanting to move my sign later, so I don't want to have to deal with that, okay? But all right, here's where she is, nice and pretty. And then we're going to put the bow up. I'm going to put the bow up here, okay? So we're going to make the bow now, and then we'll put in all the other stuff. So the wreath is going to go over to the side, and I'm going to make my bow. Now, because of the shape of the wreath and everything, I'm not going to make a bow that has 2 loops and 2 long tails that are coming out. I'm going to make one that has a short top tail, 2 loops, and then a longer single tail coming down. Okay. And I'm, again, just kind of repeating the same ribbons that I had earlier. I even have a 1.5 inch. But I'm going to finish it off with this. I really just wanted to kind of keep it simple, but I did have a 4-inch ribbon that I thought was perfect. So this will go in the back, but it's very subtle. It's not taking away. It's just complementing the strawberry. So I'm going to start with this one. This is a 4-inch wired ribbon that you can get at places, again, like Craft Outlet currently. And I'm going to dovetail. So I'm going to start with the dovetail because I'm weird and I start that way. Okay, but I want to start with a long tail, and this tail is going to be, how long is this tail? It's about 15 inches, okay? It's a 15-inch tail. And when I put it in here, I want to pinch and twist, okay? So this is the back side of the ribbon. It might not look like it's a back side, but it is. Sometimes you can tell with the, hold on a second. No, that's the wrong way, hold on. This way. And now I'm going to pinch and twist. There we go. Much better, much better. Because you can see on the stitching here. I had it the wrong way before. The stitching you can kind of see on the back. Okay? And then we're going to pull this around. And we're going to give this, I think we're going to do an 8-inch loop. So 8-inch loop there. And then in the middle, we're going to pinch and twist it on the right-hand side. So we're looking at the back side now. And you can also tell we've pinched and twisted because the white stripe is on the bottom there. But then the white stripe is up here, and we can see the stitching. Bring this back in. So the curve is at 8. Now, I'm not slamming it down and squishing it down, okay? It just kind of looks like it's at 8. And then this one, I'm going to have a top tail coming out. It's going to be a little longer than this. So I'm going to cut this at 10 inches. Okay. So this is 2 inches longer than the loop. Then I'm going to dovetail it. Okay. You can decide to wait and dovetail it all when you're finished. I'm notorious for forgetting to do that. So I do it as I go, and then I can always trim it if I need to. Okay. All right. And it doesn't really even use that much 4-inch ribbon. A lot of people are afraid to use 4-inch ribbon. They're like, it's so expensive. You can find a lot of them on sale. Find some bargain ones to start with. Okay. So here is our current layer. Now we're going to bring in our first of our strawberries. Again, dovetail it. All right. I'm going to have this one end an inch above the other one. So if that was 15, this would probably be, I would call this a 14-inch tail. Now this is going to be easy to tell which the back side. Pinched and twisted. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Scratch what I just did. Put it in on the other side. There we go. About an inch above. Okay. Start from the left. Now we're going to go to the right. Okay. Sorry about that. We're going to do this loop at 7 inches. Okay. Pinch and twist. All right. Make this loop at 7 inches. Okay, and then this loop, cut it at 9 inch. Well, no, we're going to cut it at like 8.5 inches. Then dovetail it, and then it's going to end up being 8. I only like to go really far up on the 4-inch because it's kind of so far apart from the other ones, but there we go. So this was, when we're done, it's an 8-inch tail and 2 7-inch loops after I've dovetailed it. Okay, and we even have a little bit left. Maybe we'll make another small bow. You can also make a bow that'll go on a lantern. Lots of other fun stuff. All right, now we're going to go to our red. Now this is a non-woven ribbon. I love working with this because it holds up really well in the outdoor weather, and it's very inexpensive. I think a 50-yard spool was like $12 at Craft Outlet. So we like that. Okay, so I'm bringing this tail down, and again, it's going to be an inch above this one. So if that was 15, 14, this will probably be a 13-inch tail. Okay, now again, I'm starting from the right going to the left. So I did right to left. This one was left to right. Now I'm going right to left again. Pinch and twist. Wait, no, wait. Did I already pinch and twist? There we go. Pinch and twist. Bringing it out, bringing it around. Now, if this was 7 inches, this one, I kind of want to do it like 6.5. I don't want to bring it into full 6, right? I'm going to kind of come in like a 1/2 inch because I still want this to be nice and luscious. So that's a 6.5 inch loop. I pinched and twisted on the right. I'm going to make a 6.5 inch loop. Okay, and then this tail. Cut this off at like 8. And by the time I dovetail it, it'll be 7.5, which is an inch more than my 6.5. All right. All right. And as I'm layering it, you can see that none of these layers in the loops or the tails are obstructing the other ones. They might be covering it a little bit, but nothing is being completely blocked. Everyone should have a good line of sight into you. All right, I'm taking that red off the table. Whew. Now we're going to go in with this 2.5 inch, or 1.5 inch, sorry, 1.5 inch dovetail. I'm going to go here. You know, actually, I think I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do something different and crazy, guys. I'm going to use this 1.5 inch. I don't want to have strawberry on top of strawberry. I want strawberry on one side and strawberry on the other. So I'm going to actually add in another layer of this. Now, I know this is going to be red on top of red, but they're the same ribbon. I don't think it's going to add too much visual distraction because it's kind of a plain print, if a print at all. But on this left side, I'm going to go in. So this would be, is that like 11-inch tail? Okay. I'm going to do a loop on this side at 6 inches. Pinch and twist. A loop on this side at 6 inches. Bringing up a tail. So when I cut it off, it's about 1 inch more than my loop. There we go. Really just added in a little bit more red. Okay. Now I'll be happy with where I put my other strawberry ribbon. Okay, we're on this side. Okay. 1 inch less than that. Okay, pinch and twist. Bring this over. So this should be 5.5 inch loop. Pinch and twist. Bring it over. 5.5 inch loop. Cut it off right there. Oops. Give it a dovetail. Sorry, I have to clean up those little pieces right away because I'm anal. All right. I kind of want more of this. I'm going to add another layer. Why not? I've got the ribbon. There we go. I'm going to do another one going the other way. Kind of almost the same length, to be honest. Same length. I figure, why not? Let's use it. Because I really wanted to play up this pattern. I'm going to cut it longer than the other tail. Am I the only one that ends up kind of saving some of the scrap ribbon just because I like to keep pieces of what I've made? It's a memento. I know. I used to have a big jar of all the ribbon tails and I cut different patterns. That was kind of fun. Okay. And now I have here, this is I believe this is 7/8. This is again that same red pattern, but I always like to finish it off with a nice thin ribbon in the middle. It doesn't obstruct the pattern below it, but it gives us, well, something fun. Now this I don't dovetail, because if I dovetail this, here, let's watch. If I dovetail this, let's do an example before I trim it off. And then it kind of looks like, it's so close together, it looks like snake fangs to me. I don't like that. So I like to cut this one on an angle. Nice and simple. Or we can kind of do like a little curly whirly, but I'm not going to do any curly whirlies on this. I'm just going to go straight down in the middle. This will be 4.5. 4.5. And this one will come up. I want to cut that like that. There we go. All right. Move that over. Now, you don't have to use a zip tie to secure your bow, but I do because that's how I roll. That's how I roll, ladies and gentlemen. That's how I roll. You take the whole thing. I'm going to scoot it up a little bit so I get my hands underneath. Now, I'm going to push down as I pull up. So I'm squishing this together. It's a BLT sandwich. Let's not lose our layers. This is going to go right behind here. Just slight movements of your finger. Okay. Then I've got my zip tie. And I'm going to shove it right between my ring finger and my middle finger. Okay. Move that just slightly underneath my thumb. The littlest of movements. Bring it around. All right. Now I'm going to pull this around. I'm not going to, it's in there, but I'm not going to pull it within an inch of its life yet. We want to adjust where our tails are. Run your hand down the tails, okay, and up the tails, because that's going to give it that really nice curve that we like, okay? Okay, so that, and that. We have that, and that. All right. All right, I think everything looks good. Now I'm going to pull it. Ooh, click, 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 click. Snip it. I like to just give this a quick twist so it doesn't go sliding around my pipe cleaner. Bring it around. And then the last thing I want to do is take these two center loops. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to pinch these together. Pinch these together. And then kind of pull it out. What that does is now we've hidden our zip tie and you can't really see it, which is the point. Another kind of little final tug. We'll tug on it more after we get it in. I might end up probably shortening the length of some of these tails. All right, let me put my easy bows back behind you guys. All right, and now I'm going to bring back my wreath. I'm bringing Wreathy back. Yeah. All right. So this is where we have him. Move that all over there. There we go. Hey, Gay, how are you? Hello, hello. And Billy, I'm so glad you guys like this. Kathy, the strawberry stuff all came from, you can probably try to find it at Craft Outlet. I got it at a warehouse sale, but it's the same importer that Craft Outlet uses for a lot of their stuff. So I'd try there, or Deco Exchange. And there is an affiliate link to Deco in my bio. All right. So when we're looking at our wreath, we're not going to have it like that. We want to have them down a bit of an angle. So that means we're going to put our bow right here. Right, so it's going to kind of go like that. All right, so let me bring this over. I don't want to reach across it. I want to have it as close to me as possible because I'm old and my back hurts. Well, every body part hurts at this point. Who am I kidding? It all hurts. Now this time I do want to catch the second ring because what that does is that gives me a little bit more leverage to be able to perhaps pull the bow up a little higher, a little further away from the sign. Because I don't want to have any of the loops covering that chocolate covered strawberry. It can touch it, it can overlap it just a little bit, but we don't want to have it to the point where it's obstructed. Okay, let me finish. I just take the pipe cleaners and I just wrap it around, poke it in. Okay, I'm going to twist this because this is the top. Oh, this is a juicy looking bow. I've never done it before where I've laid a 2.5 and a 1.5 inch of the same patterns right on top of each other, but I gotta say, I like it. I think it turned out well. I'm glad I added the rest of that 1.5 inch because I don't think I would have felt like there was enough chocolate covered strawberry pattern in it. I'm going to take 1 inch off the bottom of the 4-inch ribbon. All right, we're going to bring it around. All right, I like that. It's pretty good. All right, now it comes time to look at our florals. And then we also have our strawberry covered strawberry picks, but that's going to go in next. So we're going to put in these next. Okay. Move that over to the side. So this again, if you didn't catch me earlier, this is what we call it 60919, which was the number of the original SKU. Now they have different item numbers now. But you can find these. It's a filler bush. If you search for 24-inch EVA bush for like berry and leaf, you can find it in all sorts of different color combinations. I'm going to have this available in blue and white in one of my wreath kits. But if you spread it apart, you'll notice that there are 3 sections on here. We're going to pull this apart. Section 1, Section 2, and Section 3. I think that sticks a little too big. I'm going to cut it off just underneath where all that is bundled, okay? So I have 3 pieces of this. 2 of them have the red and pink mixed on there. One of them does not because I ran out of this time, but that's okay because we're going to kind of stagger it. It's not going to be all next to each other, so I can literally just have some that are just the red and white. And then the secret also is before we're going to put them in there, we're going to fluff them up. I'm just separating them now, but you want to fluff it all up. You want to spread it out and air it out. Just think of like when you get home from work and you like take off your bra and you air those puppies out. That's exactly what we want to do. Give them room. Let them breathe. All right. Here we go. Ooh, I'm getting all caught up in the picks. Here we go. Separating them out into the 3 different pieces. 1, 2. And if these start to kind of come apart, you can add a little zip tie down there to keep it all together. Because sometimes when you pull it apart, some of the paper comes off. That's no big deal. And you see I'm cutting it below that extra little lump. You can see that that's where all those kind of were attached. Boom. All right. So we're going to spread this out. Okay, so take these. These longer ones I like to have in the back. Sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out what's the back and the front, but the longer ones are in the back. The berries should always come up toward the front. Now, the top of these things always had these little wood things in there. So I grab these and I just twist them around my finger. Okay. Just make little twists. Okay. So it's not quite so annoying. You can cut it out if you want to, but I use them. Okay. So I've got that one. Now this one has this little like fern piece in the back. That's so you can tell that's the back. All right. All right. Here we go. You can hear my daughter gaming upstairs. I'm glad she's enjoying her break while she can. She goes back to school next Tuesday. Whoa! Oh no, back in school. Horrors. Me counting the days. Nah, she's been good. She hardly ever comes down here. She's almost 13. Of course she doesn't want to be by me. But we are finishing up watching Stranger Things. We're almost on season 3. It's only taken us like 2 months. She only watches 20 minutes at a time because she gets scared. All right, so how are we going to put these in here? Well, I like to do mine a certain way because I'm in the Midwest. All right, so sometimes just gluing stuff and hoping for the best does not work out great. So I'm going to actually open this up. I'm going to put one of these in here. I'm going to glue it, but then I'm going to twist it into here, okay? Because I really want to make sure that there's some goodies in there, all right? But I want to also really, really spread this out. I could almost even just kind of come up right into there. Yeah. Just want to catch glue on the back. And you can always add more glue. Okay, so it's separated out and putting that right in there, right through those mesh pieces. All right. And now I'm going to real tight twist, okay? And spread it out and then fix my ribbons, okay? We're always going to have to keep adjusting our ribbons until we're really done, okay? But I just really wanted to make sure we had some floral in there. There we go. All right. So there are 10 around the outside, but honestly, once I get kind of up to that top part of that wreath, I think we're good. Plus, if I really spread these out, sometimes they don't have to go in every one. But just try to make sure that your berries kind of end up on the top. Because otherwise, if they get buried, then what's the point of having those beautiful berries? Don't bury your berry. All right, opening up this one. So that one had a pink and white. Now I'm going to kind of look for one that was, this one kind of had the red and white. Now this one did have that little long wood twig in there. So I'm going to not put a long twig one next to it. I'm going to go for that had a long twig. That had a long twig. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I space it out so I don't put two things that are too similar right next to each other. All right, here we go. This one's going to go next. And you see how this is all kind of different heights too. I can come in here and cut this down. Okay, just trim it right in the garbage can. All right, this has already been opened. I'm going to add my glue. Okay, it's going right in there. Nice and tight. I like to twist it twice. All right, now we're going to separate this all out. Really air it out. Because we're going to kind of focus on putting roses and some of the other picks kind of more around the inside ring. So right now, I'm literally just putting the greenery on the outside ring. Okay. For those that are kind of new at learning how to do this, this is a nice, easy way to kind of figure that out. Here's a pink and white. We're going to bring berries to the front. Okay. Glue. Don't glue your fingers. We don't want to glue our fingers. We'll put that in there. Now we're going to go real nice and tight. All right, and now spread it out in here. And not just from side to side, but like up and down too, you know? Give it a lot of life. And I do have more roses. If I decide I want to come back and put more roses in here, I absolutely can and will. I just like having a lot of greenery kind of coming out of this particular one. And it is sticking out a little far, but I like it. I like it. Here we go with the red and white. This is a big one. All right. You don't have to put the glue far down on the stem because that's going to actually kind of stick into your wreath. It's more putting it right on the stem, right below where the buds are, where it's going to hit those twists. That's where we want that. Okay. Lovely. I'm trying to see if I got another. I have a pink. I have a solid red. I'm trying to see if I got another spot. Because I'm going to need another one, I think. I just don't know what I'm going to use. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. Okay. And there's actually front and back to these other little ones with that as well. So we got to be careful, pay attention to that one. Going right in. All right. I'm going to pop over here for a second. Give me a minute. Just a minute. Just a little thing in a minute. And then I can just put a pink. I'm just going to put a pink behind the bow. It's the least different, and it's also the most covered. There we go. That gives me my number 10. All right. So we got this one. Yep. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle this one out. And most of the time, people aren't going to know. They're not going to know because it looks so similar to the other ones. All right, but I am going to trim off all that excess that we don't need. Ugh. All right, we're going to come back here. We're going to lift this up, go right in here. All right. Putting in the glue. It's going up this way, coming down, giving it a good twist. Here we go. All right. Aria has emerged from her cocoon. As the teenager emerges from the cocoon, they are in search of food. After a long night of gaming till after 1 a.m. Am I wrong, Aria? Are you coming down for food? Yeah. She wants the food. Okay, here we go. Add some glue. Trying to keep an eye on this because I know we have an online appointment at 2 o'clock Central, but I should be finished with this in plenty of time for that. All right. Scooching around, just a couple more spots to do. Now that was a red and white, so now I'm going to look for a pink and white, and I'm going to go for this one. This is a big juicy one. This one's losing some of its paper, so I'm going to just glue a little bit on there so that I can take that paper, just wrap it over so it doesn't lose it. There we go. And I'm just going to put glue kind of just right below the buds. All right, and I've got my spot in there, so I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to go twisty, twisty a couple times. There we go. You got to be careful if you get glue on your fingers. Don't wipe that glue or get it on the ribbons. 2 more to go. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to cut the ends off. I just wanted to make that nice and flush. So I was trimming the ends off the end of this particular branch, and I'm applying my glue, and I'm just going to put that right in here. All right. Twist 1, 2, 3. You never know. I might probably do what I do, which is go back in and put a rose in there with a little bit of glue when I'm done at each of these spots. Okay, this is the last one for this, and then we're going to look at adding roses. And I have 1 bush plus 3 stems, and I might end up grabbing some more, but I'm hoping not to, because again, I'm trying to keep costs down. All right. All right, our greenery is in. Separates here. We're just going to widen this out. Okay, so for right now, without the rest of the stuff, and this is just what it is like along the outside, okay? Nice and pretty on the outside. Kind of makes it much bigger. It's looking bigger. Okay. Oop, there we go. Now we're going to look at our roses, which I believe I ordered these from Pioneer. They were one of the sponsors at when I went to the Wreath Makers Live this last year. So these are pushers on here. So what it means is these leaves can push up and down. I like to kind of push them a little higher up. Let's talk about where we're going to put the roses and where we're also going to put these fun little picks. So I'm not going to put all 3 in there. I'm going to pull them out. Okay. So there's 3 picks that come on each. I've got quite a few of these, but I did pull 3 of these, so I should have 9 of these. All right. So I think what I want to start with is maybe I want to put one of these in every other, and then like a rose in every other, and then I can put like a rose in every other up here. I think I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to put a rose. Okay, so I'm going to actually, because again, like I said, I like to have extra coverage. I'm going to, oh, that sign got in there. I'm going to twist this right into those twists. Okay, I'm going to cut out a little bit of the stem. Okay, just a little bit. All right, so I've got about 4 inches of stem total after the bud. I'm going to put some glue on that. Kind of put it up there, and I'm just going to give this an extra little twist so that the glue is able to adhere onto these little twists. But I'm also going to try to kind of poke them behind the sign. All right, because that's kind of like a little distracting. So we don't need to see that there. But we've got that poked. Got one there. I'm like, ooh, I could come and put a strawberry in here. So now I can open that twisty up. Okay. And if they ever come apart from this, you just add some extra glue on the back, right? This one's pretty secure, but I'm going to add just a little extra because why not? Now I'm going to put some glue on the actual stem part. I glued this. Ow, ow, ow. I'm going to slide that in there. Retwist it. So now it's glued into there. I could also add an extra dollop if I wanted to, which I do, of glue just to make sure it stays on there. All right. So the tip of this is just slightly under the sign. All right. So I'm going to do rose, strawberry, rose, strawberry. Okay. Push that greenery up. Oh, that's a little too far up. So again, I've got about that much stem on there, coming around to here. And I can see my little twisties. Okay. I'm going to add my glue onto the bottom of the stem. Slide it right in here. And I'm just going to give that an extra little twist. Right? Because it's going to adhere to the ribbon. It's going to, if it catches mesh, it's going to adhere to the mesh. But I really want to make sure that we have it so that it's on those little stems. Okay. But I don't want to cover up the stem and the sign, so this is going to kind of be like underneath, but the greenery is going to be here. Okay. All right. Now here, I'm going to grab one of these. Now I'm not going to waste bothering putting a strawberry pick and stuff underneath the tails of the bow, but here you may still see some. So I am going to add a strawberry up on top there, and then we're going to do the same thing around the bottom. Okay, I'm going to go right here, twist it right in, nice and secure. Now that twisty is covered by that loop. Okay, so you can see it kind of covered that, so we're going to pull this up. All right, I don't really need to put anything behind there. Not going to really see anything much over there. So we're going to move now to the bottom layer. So I'm just going to pull these off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I might have an extra one when I'm done. Sometimes I will use one of these and put that in the center of the bow, but this is kind of larger, so I'm not going to do that for this particular project. Okay, so we have a strawberry here, a flower here, so I'm going to put a strawberry in here. Now, we might be able to just slide it in and then just add some glue on afterwards, because we did kind of put those berries in there. So if I slide that in, which goes in, I'm going to hit it with some glue there and some glue on the other side so I can glue it to that green stem. Okay. And I make sure the berries come out, right? So the berries can kind of be over on the side. This doesn't have to be centered. This can be moved off to the side as well, okay? So we have that. While I'm here, I'm going to grab another rose. I'm going to add that into here. And then when we're all done, we are also going to go back and look at the center of the wreath and see if there's anything else we want to add. So I can push that in right on top of that greenery. It's going right in. There we go. It's in there. I'm going to add a little, like I said, a little dab of glue once it's in there. But I don't want to untwist the white because I already kind of glued that floral stuff in there. So you can always wait and glue that the greenery in when you're done. But I wanted that in there now. Okay. That's gonna go. Sorry, I'm trying to keep things from going off the end of my table. Okay, and now up here, that was a white strawberry. Now we're gonna do a brown strawberry. Now this one has a longer stem because this has to kind of peek out from behind here. Or is this a longer stem? Let's see. Let's see who is the longer stem. It is pink, but not by much. Okay, so we're gonna go with this one. I'm literally just gonna shove it right in here. Alrighty. It's right in there. I can hear it, I can feel it. I'm making sure though it's not puncturing and piercing going through the wreath. Okay. All right. Make sure this can be nice and a little higher up. The berries over there. All right. Let's add a little dollop of glue right there. A little dollop of glue right there. Okay. Nice and easy. coming around again. Let's add a flower. As you learn wreath making stuff, you don't have to necessarily make it as formulaic as this, but I know a lot of my followers are newer to wreath making, or they're not like into more advanced techniques. So that's why I'm trying to do methods that is something that they can easily recreate themselves. So this one I think I can open up. Yeah, I'm going to open that one up. It's in. Twist, twist. Push that in a little further. There we go. And glue, and glue. There we go. Perfect. And then you're going to find little strings of what I call glue snot. It's just little strings of glue. It happens. So just pull them off. Wait until the glue dries and then pull it off. Okay. All right. Put this chocolate covered strawberry. He's going right in there. Yeah, I'm going to open this one up, I think. Yeah, all right, I'm opening this one up. Easier. All right. Put that in there. I'm going to add a little bit of glue before I close it up. And I just got to remember to be careful, my fingers. When you're twisting it, hold it higher up so that your fingers don't get glued. Because you know me and the glue and the burns. It burns with the fire of 1,000 suns. All right, now we're going to get to, we're getting there. I see the finish line, guys. Finish line, not too many more. Just going to go around, finishing adding in the florals. Yeah, I could twist it open again. And then just re-glue. There we go. Putting it in, adding my glue, and a nice good twist. It's easier to do this with grapevines. I find it's more difficult to try to add florals and stuff to a mesh wreath. And some people just kind of like glue it and shove it in and just kind of like, okay, it's going to catch something. But I'm in the Midwest. I don't trust it. I'm sorry, I don't trust it. All right. Now this one, I like this one because this was kind of already upside down. Perfect. I'm going to trim off. I don't need that long of a wire. I'm going to try to open this one up. All right. Adding my glue to the wire. I'm also dropping my scissors on my thighs. That could have been bad. All right. And then we're just going to twist it right back in there. And I like this one because it's kind of like upside down. So it's not in there upside down. The wire is actually on upside down. I think that was one I had to kind of fix earlier. But I'm glad I glued it on the right way. Because I'm kind of weird. Sometimes I don't like stuff to be in here upside down. It'll kind of bother me. It'll look weird. Right? Get a little bit of extra glue right on there. All right. This has to be Chicago weatherproof. That's why I only use Gorilla Glue. It is the best. Tis the best. All right. Here's that. Gonna lay that in there. Twist it real good. And now add my glue in. It's easier to do it that way because I have a good angle. I can see it easily because I'm sitting down. It's at face level. It's kind of a lot easier to do it that way. Okay, so we've gone around the outside. We've kind of gone around over here with our little strawberry. I do want to, however, add in a couple more. So we've got room right here to put a strawberry. So I'm going to do that under the tail because it's going to poke out past the tail. The attaching it is under the tail, but where it's going to display is actually off to the side. Okay, so I'm going to put it right in here. All right. twist it right in. Nice and tight, because it still has to hold in the mesh and the ribbons and all that. Okay. Give it an extra little hit with the glue on either side. And the tail's going to come down. And it's going to stick out. We're going to be able to see that there. That looks so cute. Okay. And I think, honestly, I don't know if there's anywhere else that I think I can add anything. Just making sure I fill the center of this wreath there. So what I'm going to do now is grab my stand and hold it up. And I will change the angle that you guys are seeing it at so that you can see the whole thing. I'll probably even move you guys back a little bit and then angle it up. So give me a second. And then we can also see if this means that there's anywhere else that I want to put one. Okay. Oh, I forgot one. Hold on. I forgot one. I'm a dork. Here we go. I set it in and I never glued it. That's a problem. That's a problem. All right. You're like, well, it's in there, but it's not glued. All right. All right, here we go. Let me change your angle. Okay. Lift you guys up a little bit, kind of more of a head-on view. Okay. Here we go. Now you guys have a much better view. All right. So here's our bow. All right, that's going to curl backwards. We want these tails to curl back. Okay. Up and at it. This can kind of come this way. All right. There's our other little strawberry that we had. The only thing I think I might need to put over here is I'm going to undo this. We're going to add in a rose right there. Because I feel like it needs it. Okay. You can kind of still really see it from the side. So if there's a chance to display something pretty in there, we want to do that. There. Because I wasn't sure when it was down. I wasn't sure what exactly we'd all be able to see from this angle. But now you can see it's all filled in kind of from the sides. Looking pretty there. Bringing it around to the front. Okay. There is nothing really kind of in here, but I don't really... I've got one of these left. But then I got kind of two next to each other. But you know what? That's probably okay, because... Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put those next to each other. So this one's going to go in there. I told you guys, I always end up using all the stuff that I've got because I'm a dork. You know? It would do me no good to keep one extra one just kind of floating around because I would probably never use it and it would just end up causing me stress about where do I store it, all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad I'm able to get that one in there. And I'm going to push that in. All right, and I'm going to add extra glue just to make sure that it's attached to the mesh. It's got nowhere else it's going to go. We can still see it kind of poking out from the bottom, right? I like it. I love it. It's filled. Oops, got some white stuff on there. It's flaky something. Flakes of something. Looks like white chocolate. Given the theme. It's not, but it looks like it is. Okay, I can get that off. All right, here we go. I want to also go around and make sure that any ribbons that are stuck behind my sign can pop out. We don't want to hide anything down there, but we also, like here, we don't want to obstruct that strawberry. Make sure everything looks good. Again, ribbon tails fluffed, separated, because they will want to go together once they are kind of, you know, left to their own devices. They migrate back to where they were until they learn where they need to go. All right. Okay. And then sometimes when you run your fingers down the wire, extra little pieces of wire will pop out from the end. So just check your ends. Make sure that those are good. Okay. That'll go down there. That goes down there. I am so happy with how this turned out. All right. I think everything looks good. Now, although this is not a kit, it will be available at sweetariadecor.com to buy this finished wreath. And then you can also look, there's going to be lots of other kits. There'll be Valentine's Day one coming within the next 2 days. There's Easter kits. There's going to be patriotic kits, spring kits, lots of things I'll be posting. So go follow my shop, sweetariadecor.com, and then you can follow along and become a maker with us if you aren't one already. All right. Thanks for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can follow me all over social media, and you can shop my store at sweetariadecor.com.